Hey there, my twirly whirly friends, and welcome to Twister Tidbits, the show where we dive into some of the most historical tornadoes to touch down here in the US of A. I'm your host, Ava, and I'm joined here with Lex. Now, Lex, tell us, is there a specific tornado that stands out to you?
Definitely the El Reno tornado that happened in 2013.
An absolute monster of a storm.
For sure.
One of the most unfathomable things. Like, my brain can't wrap around it sometimes.
It's insane.
There's something that got you into these storms.
Definitely. Storm chasing. Just watching it, growing up watching those shows, growing up with the storms at home. Even though I'm from Jersey, we had some pretty crazy storms.
They're still possible.
We've had some pretty
there.
crazy storms,
but
absolutely. I would always go outside, watch them with my mom.
Oh,
and
I don't blame
everyone would think I'm crazy, but you know.
It's not crazy. You're just educated and
gotta love
interested.
it.
At least someone is.
Exactly.
Well, I have a bunch of little storms for us. I can't even say little storms. I got a bunch of big storms for us to talk about today.
Perfect.
The first one will be the one in Joplin, Missouri on May 22nd, 2011, because that's a heavy storm, and I got a little picture of the devastation because it was such a monstrous storm that you really couldn't even see it.
It's devastating.
It was rain wrapped in parts, and seriously, it's complete devastation. There's absolutely nothing left. I mean, it was an EF5 with winds up to 250 miles an hour.
It's when you think about how fast that must be and hearing it in person, I always think about when people say it sounds like a freight train, and I'm just like, I can't even imagine.
I can't imagine the wind speed. That's something that my brain just can't physically wrap around, is knowing how fast it is.
Yeah, and rain wrap too, so you don't even know where it is.
No, that's something that scares me so bad. If it's nocturnal and rain wrap.
Nocturnal and rain wrap,
no thank you.
That's why Dixie Alley scares me.
And it's crazy that it's shifting over that way.
Yep.
We were also used to the Tornado Alley being over in Kansas.
I know. And now like Tennessee and places,
Kentucky, Missouri. It's
even
scary.
in the Panhandle a little bit. There's been like warnings, and the outbreak that happened in March.
Oh yeah, that one was absolutely insane.
Crazy.
Then we had another one in April where there were some up in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia.
It's crazy. They're everywhere.
And people think like, oh, it's a very hilly area. Like it's not, oh, well, times have been changing, it's shifting.
Yeah.
That's something that scares me a lot.
It's crazy.
Especially with Joplin being the deadliest one in the modern day.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It was a high school graduation that this happened on, and it breaks my heart.
Hearing the stories about that is always heartbreaking
it
too,
really
because you can't even imagine, especially with a big event like a graduation, and it's awful.
Yeah,
it's awful.
There was a speech at that high school during graduation where they were saying like big changes are coming and like today is the day, and they had no idea that it was going to be
It's scary. It's scary.
It
like,
really is.
Things can happen so fast.
Have you seen how fast this thing dropped before? It probably went from nothing to something in about 3-4 seconds. It's terrifying. And we have no idea it's coming until it's pretty much on the ground.
You get the emergency alert and you have to like make a split-second decision.
Exactly. Like you don't have time to be like, should I go somewhere? Should I go underground? Just go underground.
I can't even imagine being out too. Like the high school graduate. That's what I mean. Like it's like being on a high school like football field.
Unbelievable.
Tornado coming, something like that.
No, thank you. And there was a kid named Will Norton. He was going to LA for film school, got like a full ride. He was like the happiest person ever, and he was killed right after. And it just absolutely breaks my heart. And
it's awful.
The most terrifying part, which, I mean, there's so much about this storm, is that a flesh-eating bacteria was emitted after this.
I was going to say, and it killed a couple people.
It killed at least 3. Yeah. And there was a Netflix documentary that recently came out where they really dove into the stories about it. And one guy actually survived. They had to take parts of his heart out, parts of his lungs out. Like his entire abdomen is so torn up. But he was a miracle that he was even able to survive. They gave him a 5% chance of survival. But
and all of that from a storm.
Seriously, it was that powerful that it uprooted a fungus like that. Like, once again, I don't know.
It's unfathomable. Like it's like truly like
it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying.
And being an EF5, just in general, like anything,
unbelievable,
awful.
And I think it's crazy because we're going into El Reno next. That El Reno, Oklahoma, May 31st of 2013.
It's the craziest one in my book.
It's such a monster. It was 2.6 miles wide.
And it grew that big in
so fast.
Seconds.
Fast. And it was a very different storm. It was moving southwest or
the
southeast.
courses changed a lot.
And that's what ended up killing Team TwistX, because they are some of the most educated storm chasers. It killed Tim Impulsamaris and Carl Young, which is unbelievable.
I was gonna say, even watching back like any footage of them before, I'm like, it's just hard. Crazy.
Oh my gosh,
it's crazy to imagine like that happened to them.
Especially to old people, like amateurs. Like I kind of understand because you're not in the field, but Tim knew all the science of it.
And they were always Team Twist-X was always cautious. Like Dominator's crazy, but Team Twist-X, no.
They were on top of it, and to know how randomly these storms can end up going, it's horrific. And how wide it was, that's something that, seriously, I can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Like, that's about as big as our campus, that storm was.
I always say, whenever I'm in the car and it's storming and I'm looking outside, I'm like, I always pick, because I've never seen a tornado in real life, obviously. And I always picture, I'm like, how big would it look in real life, like in front of me? Right? And then I think of El Reno, and I'm like, you don't even see it.
No,
it's
seriously.
just a cloud.
You would think it's a cloud, like you'd look behind you, and oh wait, that's actually a monster storm. And the fact it was only an EF3 is something. I think it's. I mean, the EF scale.
I was gonna say there's a lot of uproar about it.
I mean, it's only because the EF scale does. It only is because of what the damage is on the ground. It's after the surveys are done and all that, not the size, not the wind speed.
So if it's in a plain field,
which is what it mostly was, and I don't want to argue with what they're saying, but just the size of that thing alone,
crazy.
I think EF3 is kind of a lower ranking.
I agree. It's like I said, it's like the top storm for me. I'm like, I feel like it was the most crazy tornado recorded. I feel
really
like
is.
Just the speed, the unsureness of the direction, just everything that happened.
That's what's so scary, is the unsureness of it all.
It's awful. I would love to visit the memorial.
Oh my gosh, me too. Me
too. That would be really awesome.
They have storm chasing tours out in the Midwest, and low-key want to save up to go one day.
I know. That's a dream. It's a
30s dream. Not yet. Let me get on my feet, and then exactly. Next we have is the Bridge Creek Moor, Oklahoma, May 3rd of 1999. This is the oldest one we're going to be covering, and this thing is a monster. Absolutely horrific. Meteorologists were telling people, get underground or you are not surviving this.
When the meteorologists are freaking out, I feel like
that's wraps.
It's over.
It's
over.
It's a really, really bad situation. And this one was the highest wind speeds ever recorded at 321 miles an hour. Once again, I can't comprehend
Unfathomable.
that. Not even a little bit.
We're saying 250 or even 150. I mean, anything.
Right.
Over 300 miles per hour.
It's absolutely mind-boggling to me.
It's terrifying, but in the same way, it's such a beautiful thing to see.
Right.
It's
such a force of nature.
It's like
insane.
It's awesome to think that it can happen, but
it blows my mind that it can even happen. And like way back when, like people didn't understand what these storms were.
I always think about
like the tri-state tornado back in the 1920s. People didn't understand what was coming their way. They didn't have the warnings that we have now. And
it's like it would literally be like doomsday.
Seriously,
like,
it's insane.
I can't imagine.
No, me neither. Not even a little bit. And it's even worse that this was an EF5. Obviously, I mean it was humongous. And then back in 2013, Moore was hit with another EF5.
Yeah, the EF5s were I feel 2011 to 2013. It was a bad time.
Yeah, that was the last year for EF5s that we've had.
Yeah, the drought has been crazy.
And it's scary to hear meteorologists like Reed Timmer saying, "Oh, the atmospheric conditions this year really resemble what happened back in 2011." And
it's worrying.
It's really worrying,
especially when you have like family out there.
Oh, absolutely. My cousin just moved to Oklahoma City, and anytime there's severe weather, I'm freaking out for her. I'm keeping an eye on it, making sure, like, oh my gosh, is she okay?
Crazy.
My mom was texting her a little bit ago because there was a hailstorm, and I'm like,
and I know, of course, I'm like, if I was there, I'd be into it and I'd be out watching it. But like, obviously, for me, I'm worried about my family members.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm worried about all of that. So
yeah, I mean, if there's one thing we learned, it's not to move to Dixie or Tornado Alley at this point in time.
Exactly.
It's way too dangerous.
Agreed.
Way too scary. It's not a risk. I'd like to go see it, but living there and having your entire life.
I'll stick with the hurricanes. I can deal with the hurricanes.
Yeah, right.
I can prep for those.
Right. That's a huge thing, is being able to prepare and having 2 minutes to get underground.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Yeah. But that actually takes us well into the Tuscaloosa, Alabama storm in April 27th, 2011, which was a part of the super outbreak. Yeah. And this is so eerie to me, because just imagine driving home for school and that is what you come across.
The photos always get me because it's always such an eerie atmosphere. Like, you know that. It's like something horrible is,
It's haunting.
It's a perfect word.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
And it's scary because that hit the University of Alabama. Yeah. I could not imagine just being in class and then our phones all going off saying that there's a tornado warning.
I would be so unprepared and so anxious that, like, I always think to myself in those situations, whenever I'm watching a documentary, I'd be like, oh, like, I'd get undercover quick, like, like, I'd be on it. I'd freeze up.
Yeah.
I would be like, what do I do? You know?
And it's so different because we had days to prepare. Like with Milton, Helene, Ian, and Adalia, we had days in
I was able to
advance.
get my supplies. I evacuated. I went home. Like I was able to get out of here. But
yeah, I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I'd be so terrified knowing how violent it was as well and how panicked everybody must have felt.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we live in an area that, I mean, they are prone. I mean, with Milton, we saw so many across the state.
Yeah. And water spouts are pretty common in Florida. So I've never seen one of those either.
Closest thing I saw was a dust devil this summer, and I was freaking out as if it was an EF5 right behind me. I was so excited to see it.
I would have been freaking out.
It was just, it's such a phenomenon that I would love to see one day, but it's horrifying.
I would love to see it, and I would love to see it if I wasn't at home.
Right,
I would want that safety in my mind to know that I'm okay, but I would give anything.
Like, let it be in an open field in Oklahoma that's not going to hurt anyone or anything. Just let me see it.
Right.
Just let me see it.
Just Mother Nature real quick. Like,
exactly.
Do your thing.
Yeah, but, well, it looks like that's all the time that we have time for today. All of you watching, stay safe out there this storm season. And remember, if you feel it, chase it. Y'all, welcome to NADER Knowledge, where we see how much you know about tornadoes. I'm your host, Ava, and today we are joined with two lovely contestants. First, we have Lex. Now tell us, where you're from and what's the craziest natural disaster you've experienced?
So I'm from New Jersey, and Jersey in the house. I would say the craziest natural disaster, probably the past 2 hurricanes that we had in Florida, honestly.
How close they were to one another, too? We had like 2 weeks in between.
I'm right on the water. The flooding in my area was crazy.
Oh gosh, I can only imagine.
So that was a crazy experience.
Yeah, that's
definitely
absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Well, let's give it up for Lex.
Thank you.
Now we have Caitlin, and it's going to be the same questions for you, Caitlin. Where you're from and what's the craziest natural disaster you've encountered?
I'm from Massachusetts. Pretty cool one last weekend. Got the tornado warning. I could see the supercell above where I was in Nashville, but probably the hurricanes. It was Ian and either Helene or I think it was Helene were the two that I was here for.
Helene was crazy.
Ian was terrifying because it was my first year in Florida, and then it hit, and I went home to Sarasota, and it was worse there than it was here. So,
It's so crazy how these things.
But it was kind of cool to experience it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
It's something that not a lot of people can say.
Yeah, like I lived through not a tornado. I'm confused. Sorry, hurricane.
Hey, at least it's still a disaster, and you're able to say you made it through. Now, we've got a silly game here for you today, folks, and we are going to go into some fact or fiction regarding tornadoes. Our game will alternate between players, and there won't be a chance to steal questions because the answers are true or false. The player with the most correct answers at the end will be our winner. Do either of you have any questions?
I think I'm all set.
Nope.
All right, Caitlin, we are going to be starting with you. A tornado once picked up an 83-ton train and threw it 80 feet off the tracks.
I'm gonna say true.
That is true. This actually happened in a tornado in Mississippi a while back, which once again, unfathomable to me. 83 tons.
That checks out.
That's crazy. Now, Lex, for you. Tornadoes spin clockwise in the northern hemisphere.
I'm gonna say false.
That is correct. They spin counterclockwise due to the Coriolis effect. Caitlin, actual scientists have used diaper powder to dissipate a tornado.
False.
That is correct. That was happening in Twisters, not in real life. Lex, the deadliest tornado in U.S. history happened across 3 states without lifting off the ground.
The deadliest. That's true.
Yes, ma'am, it is. That's the tri-state tornado in 1925 through Missouri, Indiana, and Illinois. Over 695 people died, which
it's crazy.
I couldn't even imagine.
That's crazy.
Caitlin, tornadoes can cause grass to turn blue from pressure changes.
False.
That is right. If anything, they're just uprooted due to the intensity. Yeah. Lex, there's a real tornado called the Wizard of Oz Twister.
False.
That's correct, but I think we should change that.
I
It's
agree.
a fun name.
I agree. That'd be a sweet name,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. Maybe one day we'll get
Disappointing.
it.
We'll witness it.
Caitlin, a tornado once caused frogs to rain from the sky.
True.
That is true. That has happened in water spouts. They just lift up the little animals and then drop them right back down. Those poor frogs. Tornadoes have been spotted in every continent except Antarctica.
That is true.
You are correct. Oh my gosh, you two know more than I
On a
think
roll.
most people do.
On a
Look at you
roll.
go. Caitlin, Texas has the most tornadoes out of any state of the year.
False.
No, that one is true. They have averaged the most each year. So sorry, Caitlin. Now, a check from a man in Arkansas was found in Illinois after the Lake City tornado.
That's true.
Yes, this happened on April 2nd of this year, which is so crazy.
I remember hearing about that. I feel like I remember that.
I couldn't even imagine just finding
Dude.
a little paper and it's from states away
Dude.
because of how bad it was. Unbelievable to me. Caitlin, tornadoes can be detected using the smell of the ozone in the air.
False.
Yeah, that's not true whatsoever. Not a thing.
Yeah, let me just go up
smell
and
of the
sniff the
ozone.
ozone.
No, there's a nader coming. All right. The movie Sharknado was inspired by a real storm in Florida.
Oh, I don't know. I'll say false.
That is correct. It's just a complete sci-fi related storm. And don't believe everything you see out there. All right, Caitlin. Tornadoes can have wind speeds over 300 miles per hour.
True.
Yes, powerful EF5s exceed 300 miles per hour at times, which I can't comprehend.
Crazy.
A tornado once stripped the feathers off of chickens while leaving them alive.
True.
Yes, that is absolutely true. It happened in Kansas back in 1928, which that's horrifying. Those
Like
poor
what?
naked chickens. You're safe under an overpass during a tornado.
False.
That is correct. That is one of the worst places to be. Don't ever do that. You're safer laying just face down in the dirt, which is also so crazy
You'll
to me.
get sucked out.
You can see a tornado from space.
True.
That is correct. Just like hurricanes, those massive clouds, you're able to see them. The supercells are able to be seen on satellite. A tornado once lasted for over 7 hours without lifting off the ground.
True.
That is false. They normally last just minutes up to hours, but 7 hours, that's horrific. I could never imagine. That would be so catastrophic.
Dude.
Well, it could have been like a little one.
A little one, but it would lift off the
Yeah.
ground at some point, I feel, because they would lose some of their intensity.
I'm not as educated.
You're still kicking it, though. I'm proud of you.
You're on a roll.
You really are. Lex, a tornado was once caught on camera forming inside of a volcanic crater.
True.
That is false. It has never been actually recorded. If it's actually happened, I don't know.
There you go.
There's no proof.
Imagine.
2025 has been the most active year for tornado warnings.
True.
That is true. So stay safe out there, please. If you live in any of these areas, it's only getting worse with the years going by.
That's terrifying. We're 4 months into the year.
4 months
It's
into the
crazy.
year and we're already at an all-time high.
It's crazy.
And it's
Lovely.
only going to ramp up in the next month or so.
May.
Lovely.
I was going to say May
May
hits.
is late April, May.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real interesting show to watch. Now, in 2021, a tornado crossed 4 states without lifting off the ground.
That's false.
It is actually true. This had happened. It was a quad state tornado. It happened in December too, which is
Really?
absolutely insane. Yes. It started in the complete eastern corner of Arkansas, so just a little bit in Arkansas through Tennessee, Kentucky, and then into Illinois. Now
That's crazy.
Yes, and I think our winner is Lex. So everyone give a round of applause
Thank
for her.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations on being up to date on your NADER knowledge. I am blown away with what you know. And let's give a round of applause for Caitlin as well. She absolutely destroyed it
She
too.
killed it.
Thanks.
Now, that's all the time we have today. And join us next time where we will send 2 lucky UT students to Tornado Alley to see if they can survive both hurricanes and tornadoes.